What's up? It's your boy Kevin to turn on this motherfucking YouTube shit. This is serious. Wow, what the fuck?
What's up? It's your boy. Can't tell you YouTube shit. Hey man, we are lit that team and turn. Take some motherfucking day. Just hitting outside big crip and the gang shit hitting outside shit, man. Free Palestine, free Congo, Russia deal thing, and Texas stand the fuck up. Each day is a new day, be a better version of yourself. Never let somebody bring you down, I'll start back. Never let somebody tell you who you are. But also never put yourself in a position to belong. Let's stay humble. Let's grow a revolution on this movement. Keep Yahweh first. Come to the Black Hebrew Israelite as a real Jew. We out here. Alright. Boom. Say to motherfucking day. So you hitting outside big crip and the gang shit hitting outside shit, man. Gang, go. Turn up. Hey, bro. So your boy had this good video, man. You know what I'm saying? Times when the rappers self-snitched on themselves, man. And a lot of these rappers, man, who done sold out, basically, in the rap game. You know what I'm saying? This is just some real nigga shit. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times, you know, people put themselves in unpredictable situations and fuck their own stuff up. You know, we all been in a situation where we fucked our own stuff up. You know what I'm saying? But, you know, that's how it goes. But then, you know, you got other motherfuckers who sold out, you know. But at the end of the day, man, we know you just gotta keep God Yahweh first and never give up. But for people, I hope y'all enjoy this video. Make sure you like and subscribe. Fuck with your boy, and let's get into it. Shout out to my boy Luesta on the art of self-snitching gang. Hey man, I'm telling you, bro, when you really putting that work in, sometimes some bullshit can just go, and you know you think you just getting lit. Some bullshit happens. Life.
Rap snitches, telling all they business. Sit in the court, they be their own star witness. These immortal words were uttered by MF Doom and Mr. Fantastic in 2004, but they've never had more relevance than they do today. In the modern era, rappers have progressed from spinning tall tales about criminal activity all the way to modern drill scenes recounting the exact details of crimes as though they were filling out ready-made police reports. There are plenty of notable stories of popular rappers engaging in this ill-advised behavior. But while things like Bobby Shmurda reflecting on how Mitch caught a body like a week ago didn't exactly help anyone's case when the feds came along, those bars were practically encrypted compared to how blatant some artists were when it comes to detailing their exploits. But sometimes a throwaway line like that is enough to fuel legal drama. Prior to his untimely passing, Draco the Ruler's reference to having RJ tied up in the back on 2016's Flex Freestyle became important evidence during his first-degree murder trial. And based on what he'd given them, the prosecution then created their own narrative about his material while he was being held behind bars.
They were doing to you. They were going through all your music and saying this guy's violent, he's this, he's that. All based off of bits and pieces from your own opinions, their own interpretation.
I felt like this nigga was about to die.
Because a lot of people don't know what I'll be talking about half the time. I don't know what I'm talking about. Right.
Mo
so like
3 had just died.
Tell me what I mean. Right.
This nigga looked just like Mo 3, and he had the bandana. I was
a leader because of my name.
He looked just like Mo 3.
But where just one incident like this is enough to put you under the microscope of the law, some artists have made a whole career out of it. And while that kind of exposure might have made them blow up online, or given their careers a quick boost, it also blurred that line between real life and entertainment in both their music and media appearances. In fact, it's so common that it's led artists to be wary of doing interviews with people like DJ Vlad, due to their tendency to lead rappers to incriminate themselves on camera for the world to see.
might hold you up to a high standard. I got a couple indicted. Realistically, if you're a baiter, of course you wouldn't say I got anybody indicted, but you fish. Some of my peers, some of the people that sat in this seat aren't fast enough, intelligent enough to know when it's bait being swung their way. You didn't do it, but hell yeah.
If the police ever try to seize any sort of footage, I would deny it.
You don't got to. Go straight to YouTube.
And unfortunately, there are plenty of rappers whose careers were cut short when they learned that clout isn't always worth the consequences. It's your boy Luesta, and this is the art of self-snitching. If informing on yourself is truly an art form, then one of its pioneers comes from the mean streets of Brooklyn. And now, he may never place his feet on the outside world ever again. Referred to as the big homie in the streets, Raw Diggs was about as real as they came in the New York hip-hop scene. Through his high-ranking position in the murderous Mad Dog Bloods, Raw emerged from the Gowanus projects with verifiable credentials that made him a perfect candidate for a new voice of the city. And for a while, he was making big strides, even teaming up with rappers outside of New York, such as Waka Flocka Flame.
Talk about the music, man. The music, man, you know, basically we got the Vanguard movement that I'm doing, man. The company I started this year, I've been very successful. You know what I'm saying? For the past couple months, you know, I've been a lot of progress.
Hey, man.
As being a novice in this
We
business,
know they've been
you know what I
watching
mean?
us.
You know,
The FBI, they've been doing this shit.
You know what I mean? Like,
This ain't
you know,
nothing new.
we doing, you know what I mean? We got some big projects coming out of this whole camp. You know what I'm saying? And we got that collaboration with Chris Ross. You know, myself, Waka Flocka Flame.
We do it on purpose, though. We got real niggas who just out there living life.
We got that Desperado project. That's all of us coming
Cool
together.
niggas
All of
trying
us
to take niggas down.
becoming one. And we just matching the game. You know what I'm saying?
As the audience gained an interest in him,
Got some
Raw
real
Diggs
niggas who just
became an
living life.
increasingly
They trying to
well-known
help
public
niggas.
figure. But he never shied away from his gang affiliations and felt that there was a misunderstanding about what it really entailed.
You know, a lot of times people say, you know, they see me and they like, damn, he's a highly intelligent brother. You know, this and that. You know, you're not an ignorant dude. I can see you, but you're not ignorant. So it's like, yo, what are you a part of that? Well, I'm a part of this because of what it stood for, what I believe. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I have to express that to people. They be like, yo, damn, you know, you know, most of the people, they probably see in their neighborhoods have a negative reflection of what we stand for, which is not what we really stand for, and they look at that, and that's their whole perception. So sometimes somebody has to give them the real, you know what I mean?
But there was a downside that arose from all this new attention, and that's the fact that it wasn't just hip-hop fans who were taking notice of his lyrical content. On tracks like Eulogy, Raw discussed his fear of going back to prison spitting.
I'ma wave the heat, I solemnly swear. Before I let him give me 120 years, 120 years. Imagine that there.
Later in that same song, he declares that I'ma stop with all that. Too much information will make me my own rat. And unfortunately for Raw, he was about to be proven right when a massive 23-count indictment struck.
Accused Bloods gang leader and rapper on the rise tried to counter the government's claims that he's a lord who terrorized his own community.
As Raw was taken into custody, he was defended by his friends and allies who tried to undo the damage of his public persona.
The music is basically us talking about the life that we come from, not necessarily saying this is what I did. You know, this is a very intelligent man, and this is not a man who would commit all these crimes and didn't tell you for you to use it against him.
The music videos in and of themselves and the lyrics in and of themselves would never be proof beyond a reasonable doubt. But could it be something that a jury takes into consideration when they're weighing the credibility of other witnesses or weighing the credibility of other evidence? Absolutely.
But unfortunately, his bars and statements in interviews alluding to his life as a gangbanger were coupled with an FBI NYPD probe involving more than 65 undercover purchases. As the cops built their case, his songs with Murder Team rapping partner Uncle Murda were placed in the firing line. However, his longtime collaborator claimed it was actual informants that really ensured he got locked up rather than anything he said on wax.
While he was out, were used to convict him, to put him back in prison. They try to use some of the lyrics that he said in a few records that me and him did. They try to use some of the lyrics that he said and bring it up in the case. But they was already investigating, just trying to bring up on him. Because, you know what it be, you have people that get locked up in the neighborhood that he's from, that knew him. They get locked up. They know his history as far as certain things that he might have been through. And then, you know, they see him doing different things, and it's like a get out of jail free card. Get locked up, and they start saying, well, I know he did this, or they say he did this before, he did this, and then you got a bunch of people that's trying to get out of jail saying the same thing. So it makes the feds try to build a case, because already there's a couple people saying a few things about you, and they can build a case. And that's what he got caught up in right now. So that's, but they were trying to give him the death penalty. That just got. So that's good news. He's no longer fighting. He's no longer fighting the death penalty. That's good news.
Among those lyrics cited in the case were lines like this from their slowed down remix, where Diggs spit, "I don't respect the shooter because he shot me in the legs, and 2 days later he was See, if he was smart, he would have shot me in the head, because I can't get you from my hospital bed. Now, this isn't exactly an unusual lyrical approach in hip-hop and could easily be written off as a fantasy, but when you've already got 23 charges against you, and the picture of you as a hardened kingpin has been built, it's not exactly going to help either. And according to court papers cited in the Daily News at the time, this was no work of fiction. Back in the year 2000, Rod Diggs, whose real name is Ronald Herron, was shot by a rival but survived. Herron's associates allegedly killed the shooter 2 days later. He had already beaten a previous murder charge, but prosecutors suggested he was also behind the 2008 execution of Richard Russo, who was killed in a Gowanus Project elevator, as well as the killing of Victor Zapata in a Witkoff courtyard the following year. And while Uncle Murda can't say for sure that everyone was pointing the finger at Diggs, there are verifiable examples where people did. One of the most infamous is Saquon Wallace, a former dealer and hitman, who claimed that Raw once convinced him to disguise himself as a woman, complete with makeup and a wig, to carry out a hit on a rival, since that same tactic had worked for Raw before. As his defense team struggled to build a case, Raw took the bizarre step of claiming he wasn't subject to U.S. constitutional law, insisting instead that he was a sovereign inhabitant of the country. In response, lawyers pointed to various times where he had essentially told on himself, including a since-deleted tweet where he bragged about beating a body in a case he'd previously been acquitted of. With the deck stacked against him, Raw's very public displays of his gangster credentials meant that it was easy for the court to hand down a crazy verdict of 12 life sentences, plus 105 years. And while this was everything he had hoped to avoid, even fellow rappers such as Myson believed that he ultimately knew what awaited him, given how he was moving.
We knowingly understand what comes with this. We want the lights, and we want the glitter, and we want this, but we understand the only thing that's promised is jail or death. Like, engage in those things. You basically, you make a contract to give up your life at some point. Nobody knows when, but you give up your life.
And in retrospect, some of those bars on tracks such as Eulogy seem to support the notion that he knew where he was headed and had begun to come to terms with it. Given how prophetic the song was, I can only imagine Raw was already seeing the writing on the wall at this point, under surveillance, receiving indictments, etc. Now 12 years into his first life sentence, Rod Diggs holds the special distinction of being the first rapper residing in ADX Florence, the US's only supermax prison. He shares a home with some of the most notorious criminals in the world today, including founding members of the Aryan Brotherhood and convicted terrorists. In fact, it's so feared that even former wardens have spoken out about how brutal this prison, where they're held in solitary for 23 hours a day, really is.
Exclusive interview, a former warden and a former inmate tell us death is easier than life at the federal supermax. As isolated as the prisoners who call it home. The prison, called ADX Florence, is a tomb for the living.
Despite the regular campaigns to free him that you see online when a rapper is incarcerated, the likelihood of Raw coming home any time in the next century is very slim. But he's not completely given up, and is still showing his prowess with the bars during rare contact with the outside world. Yet for every case like Diggs, there are others. There was at least a light at the end of the tunnel after it all went down. Among those who actually managed to escape with their life intact after a lengthy bid is Cali rapper X-Rated, a notable member of the Garden Block Crips. He was active in both the streets and the studio all at once. But shortly after his debut album Psychoactive was released, his own music would be used against him, tying him to the home invasion of Patricia Harris, the mother of a rival gang member. She was shot through the heart in March 1992 when gang members stormed her home looking for rivals, and police claimed that the rapper was the ringleader. On his part, X-Rated maintained it was all set up, and that he wouldn't have purposefully killed the rival's mother because the code among criminals forbids it.
I don't have no indictment for gang culture. I'm not that person. I don't think that's the correct method for gang diversion anyway, to tell you to hate something you love and then think we don't have a conversation about me changing my life. That wouldn't work for me. So all I can say is just that these people called and said this was an error. That wasn't something someone intended to do. And if it had been a house full of gang members, hey, I'll be on bro, you know, because I would have happily all of them. That's where I was at with my psychology. I would have done that. I thought that was perfectly acceptable behavior.
However, not everyone agreed, and before long, everything he'd ever said or done was helping to build a case. Due to a line on his album, which spoke of kicking doors down in mamas, prosecutor Pete Harnd argued that this was practically a prediction of the slaying of Patricia Harris. When the music was played in court, prosecutor Pete Harnd said he could see the victory in the jury's horror. Determined to keep it real, X-Rated admitted to being a gang member when on the stand, with Harnd later commenting that he was speaking honestly at least, but I don't think it was necessarily a wise course of action. Although he said that he could have testified and gone home, X-Rated left it in the hands of the court. This turned out to be a mistake, as the mostly white, middle-class jury was clearly offended by his music. According to Harnd, it may not have been the reason they convicted him, but it played a powerful role in shaping their decision. Another thing that was used to ensure his conviction was the cover of Psychoactive itself, with cops and investigators claiming that the caliber of the pistol he held to his head matched the one he used in the murder.
The cover photo shows X-Rated holding a gun to his own head, taken weeks before the Harris.
They just paid jury
is
off
similar
these
to the
days.
types used in the Harris shooting. Detectives cannot
Shit,
find.
black niggas on that bitch.
Sacramento County DA officials may subpoena the record company for the unreleased recording.
This hysteria came not only from what they witnessed, but also from the songs they included on the project.
Yeah, I'm feeling my daddy and nephews. 17-year-old rap singer X-Rated is one of 5 teenagers accused in the murder of 42-year-old Patricia Harris. Just 2 days before the X-Rated finished this recording. The lyrics of the song called The Murder are hauntingly similar to the fatal of Patricia Harris. Part of it goes, I'm knocking down doors, I'm mamas, daddies, nephews, I'm daughters, sons, and sparing you. William Harris, the surviving husband of Patricia, is confused by it all, but he says the song and the murder of his wife may be related.
And they used the album for conjecture.
They listen to the song like,
because they didn't find a weapon. There was no way to ever say it was. Nobody said it was. So they really just used it to say, see, here he is holding a...
Right, because on the cover, it has you pointing it to your head, and they're trying to say that this was the same type of that was used.
Right.
Why that nigga sound like Vlad, bitch?
But they never found the actual...
Vlad was on the cover the whole damn time.
Sentenced to 31 years behind bars, X-Rated had a tough life in prison, where he almost lost his life when a corrections officer allegedly put a hit out on him. But in his version of the story, he handled the situation before it could go left.
And so my instincts is too close. I went straight at him and bap, bap, bap. He got dropped. And it turns out that was the person that had the primary weapon that would have been most harmful. And so now everybody else is thinking now,
he look like
you're supposed to run. Somebody pulls a knife on you, you're supposed to run. But Barry and Dooney and others, I knew that's if you turn your back, you're done. Yeah. You gotta make it. We gotta do this. And in doing so, you can look that man in his eyes, and I got a couple scratches and scrapes and bruises, but ain't nobody damn near nothing. Damn. That's a lie. And so the reason they think that lie is because when I was so I'm in the room and they examining, and I got a motherfucker asking me questions. And the cops are mad about it. The nurses and shit are angry at this dude. And they he say, hey man, excuse me. And they were, checking out to see if I'm in mortal danger right now. And he's like, who did it? Who did it? And so I closed my eyes and leaned back. I swear to God. I swear on my mother's life. Fully conscious, fully fucking fine, other than these scratches and adrenaline through the roof. I don't feel no pain.
But as you could probably tell from that interview, it wasn't conducted over the phone or in the pen. After spending 26 years in the penitentiary for a crime he didn't commit, X-Rated was released. Miraculously, his music career isn't
Luck. It's just when preparation
even over either, with the rapper signing to Tech Nine's Strange Music following his release. 26 years in jail, now signing a national deal, and performing in front of thousands across the country. Good for him. You know he is as happy as can be. Given his talents on the mic, there was always a feeling that the conviction robbed the scene of a potential star. But for other notorious individuals who had a tendency to tell on themselves, their ability to self-snitch always outshined whatever they had to offer as an artist. Here, we have the story of A.R. Ab. When it comes to perfecting the art of snitching, the most prolific of all time might be Philly's A.R. Ab. a member of the OBH crew alongside Dark Low, AR Ab was beating murder cases from 2005 onwards, and even survived being shot 10 times in 2011. The only problem was that at times, it felt like every time you pointed a camera in his face, he was going to confess to a whole bunch of crimes that you didn't even know he was responsible for. At times, he even ratted on his friends without thinking anything of it.
Cowards, man. Come see us, man. I swear to God, you come down this block, you gonna get filled up with so much smoke, nobody gonna make it off the block. I promise you won't make it off this motherfucker.
That Jimmy Juice and lean.
Everything I love, you come up on us, man, you're not gonna make it. Niggas gonna blow your shit clean off, man.
Over time, this became a reputation that basically made him a meme in hip-hop, with full compilation videos being devoted to times where he spoke without thinking.
I already took 13 shots. I don't know what it's for, you know why? Because I kidnapped, I robbed. I'm gonna get it. I'm the type of dude I can't be broke. So I got this whole building, I'll fix this shit up. What? I don't make no money off rap. I store people. So it's one of my hustles. Got shot a lot of times behind it.
Although he was generally a regional star, AR Ab propelled to global fame by being referenced on Drake's Meek Mill diss track, Back to Back. As he spit, I drove here in the Wraith listening to AR Ab. Suddenly, it looked like he might be progressing from mixtapes to making major money in rap.
Did that kind of change people's perception of you?
Yeah. So like now everybody kind of like take me serious now. You know, you gotta understand, like a lot of people know my street reputation, so they whole thought process of me is Ab don't really rap. He just out here running around with acting crazy. You know, when Drake mentioned my name, it opened up a lot of ears who didn't know who I was, and they said, you know what, listen to his music. It kind of made me say, I'm gonna take this shit serious, man.
Although he was grateful for the legitimacy that this brought to his career, the problem was that it placed a greater spotlight on him, and the cops had plenty of material to work with from his high-profile interviews.
I made a lot of money on the streets. Not like big niche money, but like I made hundreds of thousands of dollars on the streets. You feel what I'm saying? I got a little brother who was already this shit. You understand what I'm saying? We had a rap group of like 4 or 5 artists, man. 2 of them in jail for right now. 2 different murders right now. And these happen to be the same guys I was with when me and Cassie got locked up for the murder. This is my rap group, people. And it got that nasty in the streets, whereas though.
Following the biggest name drop of his career, AR Ab's momentum would be brought to a crushing halt. This was following an indictment based on his role in a trafficking ring. Amid the offenses that he faced, police pointed to one of his tracks as evidence, linking him to the murder of rival dealer Robert Johnson. I'll have the whole city scared. Stand near the home. I call Taz and tell him, bring that dude's head to me. Later, AR Ab's associate Dantes Taz Dewar ultimately pleaded guilty to Johnson's murder. After the court had heard all the evidence, he was handed a sentence of 45 years, and according to legal experts, his team didn't make things any better for him.
And what happened at ARAB's sentencing was a tragedy. The judge, before he announces the sentence, says, "Young man, you've been sitting in my courtroom listening to the statements of the victims, listening to the prosecutor discuss your crimes, and the entire time you've had your hands folded like this, dismissive and jeering. You don't look contrite. You don't look like you respect this process. I have the ability here today to give you a range of sentences. It could be anywhere from, here to 45. And what I'm gonna do, based on your behavior here today, I'm giving you the max. And if I was AR's lawyer, I gotta be in tune with my client, right? I gotta, before he goes in there, let him know that, bro, keeping it real goes wrong. You think you're gonna go in there, you're gonna stand tall. They won't break you if you act contrite. They'll break you if they give you another 20 years.
Now facing 4 decades in jail, AR Ab's story shows what happens when you spend too much time trying to convince the world that you're running the streets rather than continuing with business in silence. And now it feels like all the posturing was for nothing. He was so adamant to prove he was real too. 45 years. Everyone and everything you cared for is then gone. For what? For so many of these young men, it often feels like they were products of their environment. At times, they even momentarily seem like they might uplift it after their difficult beginnings in life. But for someone like Atlanta's Rollo, his journey has been a roller coaster, and his tendency to incriminate himself certainly didn't help matters. Raised by a single mother, a young Rollo would end up homeless between the ages of 12 to 14. His father was making money in the streets as a drug dealer, but that didn't help him, considering that they didn't have a relationship. Despite them being distant, Rollo ended up entering into the same line of work as his father, and by the time he was 16 years old, he had been detained in juvenile detention centers 32 times for selling drugs and shootings. After he envisioned a better life as an MC, Rollo used his connections to not only maneuver his way through the streets, but to get his rap career underway. At the age of 19, he dropped his debut project, American Gangster, with the help of his friend Young Scooter. Through his mentor, he got featured with the likes of Future on Can't Lie, and eventually, he'd be rubbing shoulders with the likes of Gucci Mane and 21 Savage. Meanwhile, Rollo used his status as a real street sweeper to garner a status as a hood legend, and this enabled his operation to surpass whatever his father would have imagined during his days slinging drugs. But the problem is that he wanted everyone to know about just how much he'd come up in the world, even if a lot of the proceeds weren't always gained through legal means.
Hey, listen here. The apartments cost $2 million, nigga. That car cost $500,000, nigga. That Hill County vet, nigga, I paid $100,000 a piece for them bitches. I was the first nigga in the city with them motherfuckers. So you need to go and tell Google, stop lying on me.
Attempting to launder some money he was raking in, Rollo bought an entire block and owned 26 apartment units while giving a percentage of his money back to his community.
We got them in, we sit up here and we pray. We ain't on no shit. We ain't selling no dope over here in the apartments. I'm Mr. Dog Food. I've been did that. Ain't got to do that again in my life. You can down there call this a homeless shelter if you want to.
But when he wasn't overseeing his empire, Rollo was known to run his mouth about the inner workings of it all in a way that couldn't help but raise eyebrows amid law enforcement.
I was the biggest
Rollo was doing some shit though.
A long period of time. I had the Bluff and I had Simpson. I had the best quality drugs and I also had large quantity for a lower price. You know what I'm saying? So I was out beating all my competition around the way. And like I said, I had all my dudes. We just built this drug empire.
And when asked if he had any regrets, Rollo insisted it was simply all he knew. As entertaining as Rollo's interviews were, this was part of the problem for him. Where real G's move in silence, he was doing the opposite of keeping a low profile and was often caught self-snitching. Due to essentially taking the stand on his interviews, it didn't exactly keep the police off his back. So even when he tried to go legit, there was still a target on his back, and his tendency to flex his money really didn't help. Plus, the fact that he had a habit of mocking the cops for their impoverished lifestyles compared to him probably made him an even bigger target for law enforcement.
They be at home like, damn, I ain't gonna never make it in life. Like, how you gonna ever make some money out of this? So you agree? I think if you arrest somebody, that shit like murder. You f***ing somebody. Look here, old pussy ass, get on the phone, call him. His ball man probably make 45 to 48,000 a year. He gotta say yes or no sir to him. Yeah, shit, he might well come work for me. We got the dog food. Now accepting application officer. Now accepting application. But we tell them, our shit pop shit. Well, can't stop shit. We ain't not one bit. I cannot hear. Every day of my life I wake up 10, 20 $1 million. A week you wake up to. What you got, 10,000, 20,000 in your account? Even if you saved up that within a 5-year span, I got it.
And eventually, his luck would run out when his private plane was caught pulling into DeKalb Peachtree Airport with 444 pounds of marijuana on it. In terms of street value, that's around $1 million worth of weed. After he was taken into custody, Rollo was held without bond, but he wasn't going down without a fight. And soon, his manager Queen told the media that he was being unfairly persecuted.
America is the record label that Rollo started. He started that so that he'll be able to sign artists. He signed himself. He put out his own music.
And there are a lot of different allegations brought against him. Possession of drugs with intent to distribute, allegations of being affiliated with a gang, and 2 different incidents where police are saying they found marijuana with the street value of nearly $2 million. It's a lot that's written in the documents. You know, what's your response to all of that?
The sad part is I don't understand why when black people come together, it can be considered a gang. Just because I love my brother and I want to be around my brother, why is that a gang?
She goes on to say the artist may have been targeted because of his unapologetic music.
He has been targeted because of his song, because of his lyrics, because of his faith.
His Instagram is also mentioned in the complaint documents. What was your reaction when you saw that they actually quoted an Instagram caption?
I mean, everybody knows that Instagram is for entertainment. How many people that you know put on a show for Instagram? Everyone.
Despite the fact that he was facing a very grim future, Rollo refused to roll over. And when the cops tried to get him to cooperate, he wasn't having it. In an IG post in 2019, his team revealed that the government offered him 5 years on his birthday. He smiled, laughed, got off the phone with his lawyer, and fed his entire dorm bags of commissary. But ultimately, he hit a stumbling block to freedom in 2020 when his bond was revoked. After prosecutors presented evidence that Rollo had continued participating in the distribution of drugs following his arrest in this case and while in custody. Apparently, the mother of Rollo's children had written notes that the prosecutors were able to obtain, which said things like, save up every dollar you receive from grandma and keep count of all the kids at dad's house so you can know how much you got at all times. A separate set of documents allegedly had values for ounces of food and a note that every ounce is 28 grams. Those documents demonstrate defendant Davis's efforts to continue distributing narcotics after his arrest in this case. The prosecutor wrote, there simply can be no other conclusion from his efforts to establish pricing and distribution for 8 balls and grams, his instruction against the use of shake, and his warning to be wary of law enforcement listening. Knowing he was caught, Rollo eventually pleaded guilty to various charges, leading his sentence to being reduced from 97 to 20 months. Released in 2023, he emerged and immediately took aim at those people who had snitched on him while defending notable YSL informant Lil Woody. What about all 17 of them informants that told the feds I shot and killed over 8 people? Rollo began his message about legal woes. Y'all ain't on social media asking them for page 8, but going at them like y'all going at Lil Woody. I see y'all still with them every day. Now seeking to rebuild his career, there are some who would argue that Rollo got off slightly if he was truly a kingpin, but others felt that his journey set a poor precedent, leading to not only his own downfall, but that of others who looked to emulate him. The coldest part is that a lot of the young-minded hustlers saw it, tried to mimic it for social media, and then got indicted for copying his footsteps. This is exactly how the OGs didn't move. Clout is a hell of a drug. There are grounds for this, because sometimes rappers aren't even established when they begin to incriminate themselves in ways that prove unsalvageable. For a brief window in time, Pop Out Blick was believed to be the next big rapper from Philly. He even hailed from the same neighborhood as the late PNB Rock.
Like Rock was definitely like a big inspiration. Like no bullshit. Like bro, definitely like motivated. You feel me? Like he showed niggas like we from the same block, so like he showed like yeah, like shit possible. Like niggas can do that shit. You feel me? Like growing up and shit. Like we watching that shit really like evolve type shit. You feel me? So like that shit different, bro. I ain't gonna lie.
And despite his own errant moves, he advised others to stay far away from the street life he'd led.
So before we get out of here, what's just a message that you can get to the youth?
I'm gonna keep it being like to all the little niggas out there, like that fuck with me, like don't hop in the streets, like real shit, bro. Like that shit not there, bro.
The streets crazy.
Don't let a crowd influence y'all, no bullshit. Like,
At all.
Don't let nobody influence y'all to do some
Do it on your own will and have faith in God.
Go to school, bro. Real shit, bro. Like this shit ain't fun, bro. This shit's scary. Like I'm 18, bro. Look at my situation.
But clearly, he didn't take his own advice, and before long, his crimes and his decision to chronicle them in his music would catch up with them. On the evening of April 28th, 2 separate cars of young men pulled up to a house with the intention of making a deal for a gun worth $1,000. However, what the naive salesman didn't realize was that Blick, alongside 23-year-old Tyree Lennon and 17-year-old Khalif Fresky, had no intention of spending any money that day. Once inside the house, things turned volatile, and it eventually devolved into a shootout between the rival crews. By the end of the battle, 3 men were dead, and another had to go to the hospital with a bullet wound in his abdomen. When police arrived on the scene, they discovered the body of 14-year-old Salah Fleming in the doorway, while 17-year-old Malik Bellard was found unresponsive on the sidewalk. Although it's unclear exactly what took place and who shot who, Pop Out Blick's crew took a loss too, as Khalif Fresky, otherwise known as Leaky, was found on the front porch. Soon, a warrant was issued for the arrest of Pop Out Blick, but he had no intention of turning himself in. When you're trying to evade the police, the strategy is usually to keep as much of a low profile as possible. Instead of keeping his head down, Pop Out Blick kept dropping music, While that's inadvisable enough, what sealed his fate was that the tracks he was dropping were basically a signed confession to the crimes. On the track Took a Risk, for example, Hop Out basically gave a play-by-play of what went down that day, and even had the audacity to name his fallen victims. Over the course of the song, he declared that Salah fell on his chest and then he started spitting up, and Leaky got left on the sidewalk. He ain't getting up. Later, he continued to disrespect, spitting, "We got 2 new Vics. We call them Double L for Law and Leaky." Later claiming that them dudes died because they ain't give it up, and he said he was a risker. He took a risk trying to meet with us. They got ghost Glocks with fake buttons. They can't beef with us. Blake was really upping the disrespect, rather than trying to outrun the warrant. Soon, he doubled down with Double Coffins, a track which celebrated the death of 2 men and basically told the story of what happened. "They just trying to catch a shooting. Them young boys died for playing tough," said Blake, later adding, "Them young boys thought that we were cool, and then we double-crossed them." Incriminating as this was, he was about to seal his fate when his pride wouldn't allow rumors to circulate. After an alert from a Philly Crime Update Twitter account revealed that a man had been shot numerous times in West Philly, various crews would say that Hop Out Blake was the victim and that they had carried out the crime. But the next day, Blake went on live to let the world know that he was alive and well.
Bro, you see how they trolling though? Like, nigga really jerking right. They jerking right, bro. They scared, bro. What? Nah, bro, that's not gangsta, bro. They scared, bro.
Whether or not this revealed his location, it only took 8 days for the cops to close in, and both he and Tyree Lennon were taken into custody. Once the police had them where they wanted, they were charged with 2 counts of murder, attempted murder, robbery, and illegal gun possession. If convicted, the 2 men are likely to spend life in prison. But what most people didn't know at the time was that almost immediately after he dropped his most vicious tracks, which dissed his dead enemies, Hop Out tried to launch his contingency plan with a post to his Instagram that acted as a disclaimer. "I do not have any involvement in drugs or sales of drugs, nor partake in any involvement in street crime," he wrote. "This account is strictly for entertainment purposes only." But this won't exactly wash when you consider that recently, Blake unveiled a music video from inside the prison, where his old persona is still on full display. In the process, he's likely jeopardized whatever defense his team is building in the process. However, he's hardly the only rapper whose own youthful exuberance and decision to blend his real-life crimes into his music videos has had a terrible outcome. Just look at the tragic story of Tay-K. Born Taymor Trevon McIntyre, Tay-K first picked up a mic at the tender age of 14 as a member of the Daytona Boys in his adopted hometown of Dallas, Texas. Originally from Long Beach, Tay and his sister were forced into foster care due to a fractious relationship with his mother, who, according to the rapper, was a member of the Baby Insane Crips. Left to fend for himself in Texas, Tay-K joined an Arlington branch of the Hoover Crips, and before long, he was implicated in a whole host of gang activity. In 2015, he had his first brush with the law when he was placed in the passenger seat of fellow Daytona boy Eric Jamal Johnson's car as Johnson gunned down a college student. Johnson was later sentenced to 44 years for the murder, while Tay-K avoided prosecution. But another crime was about to put him on the map and lead to his strange career trajectory going down in hip-hop history. Back in 2017, the Texas-based MC, who was just 16 at the time, stood accused of murdering Ethan Walker in cold blood after a home invasion went wrong. Later, he cut off his ankle monitor and went on the run to evade the cops. But rather than just disappearing, he informed the whole world of his plans. On March 27th, Tay-K tweeted, "This house arrest, 12 is gonna have to catch me on hood." From there, Tay-K chronicled the experience of being a wanted fugitive on his viral track, The Race, which reached number 44 on the Billboard charts and was later certified platinum. Seen holding his own wanted poster in the music video, this track made him the first rapper to ever make a worldwide hit while legitimately being on the run from the cops. But his crime spree didn't end there, and as he travels from Texas to New Jersey, he allegedly killed 23-year-old Mark Saldivar and attacked 65-year-old Oni Pepe. After being apprehended in New Jersey, Tay-K was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to 55 years in prison. During the trial, the lyrics and visuals behind The Race were admitted as evidence for the prosecution, and despite his attorney's efforts to clear his name, this was one situation he just could not outrun.
Tay agreed to participate in the robbery. Tay participated in the robbery. But he yesterday in front of you and in front of this court and accepted responsibility.
Man, I need more energy. If they talking about 55 years, nigga, I need more energy, bitch.
And pled guilty to the robbery by threats using a gun, threatening somebody with a gun. It counts 3. It counts 4. And the boys were supposed to come in and pull everybody off. And TK had a bag. He was going to get the money and the drugs from under the couch. Well, that's not what happened. Everything went tragically wrong in there.
As it stands, he'll be 74 years old when he's released from jail, but he hasn't given up on having his conviction overturned. Taking to Twitter in 2023, he wrote, "I'm at war within. I feel like a hamster here. They're literally treating me like a ferret in here." Previously, TK has also rallied against the length of his sentences and said that prejudice was behind it. "I really need just one chance at adulthood," he tweeted. "I bet if I was a little white kid, they wouldn't have given me no 55 years for a crime. I was alleged to play the most insignificant role in when I was 16. They would have argued that my mind wasn't fully developed and gave me rehabilitation and a second chance at adulthood. One of my co-defendants was a white girl who was 16 just like me," he declared. "They didn't certify her as an adult, but they certified me and Pimp as adults. Pimp got 30. I got 55. She ended up getting 10 years of probation without no deal. That girl at home right now." Amid asking Kim Kardashian for help to free him, TK's occasionally active X account has also been used to discuss the violence that he's been around in the 5 years he's been behind bars. "A dude in the cell by me killed his cellie with a tray and stood on his head. Whoa," he said in January of 2023. And even though his attempts to be freed are being largely ignored,
you got 55 years.
TK has insisted that he's renounced a life of crime and that the merciless man in the race video no longer exists.
Like, I'm in jail. I don't know. If I do get out, I know I'm home. I'm done robbing, I'm not doing none of that.
For TK, his links to the street meant that he never really got to reap the rewards of his blossoming career. Perhaps if he had the chance to escape via his rhymes, he wouldn't even be in the predicament he's in today. But sometimes, the street life follows you all the way into the charmed existence of a platinum-selling hip-hop star, and that same tendency towards self-snitching can put you in a whole lot of trouble. If you're a hip-hop fan, then you'll be aware of who Lil Durk is by now. A leading figure in Chicago hip-hop, Durkio became known as the voice of his generation. But this wasn't without heavy losses. Most notably, the passing of his dear friend and O-Block General King Von, a signee to his OTF label, who was killed in Atlanta following a confrontation with fellow rapper Quando Rondo's entourage.
I'm thinking it's some regular individuals, so I'm letting this group come by. Next thing you know, a nigga hit me. Boom, bam. Man, like, I like to It's like I had an out-of-body experience.
But while Quando remains alive and well, it seems like Durk may have been more rattled by online comments than he acted and set out on a plan to get his revenge. After the internet relentlessly urged him to slide and avenge King Von's death, a murder plot began to take shape. And just days after he was given the key to the city of Chicago, Durk's life came crashing down after it was alleged that he greenlit a murder-for-hire plot that resulted in the death of his longtime foe, Quando Rondo's close ally Lil Pop, leading to him famously cry in anguish as the cops arrived.
He's pulling out a man who had been shot in an SUV. Savannah rapper Quando Rondo, a passenger in that car, frantic.
Durk later sampled this in his song, making it clear how deep the bad blood between them went. They be on my page like Slide for Vaughn, I know they trolling me. Outside with y'all big homie, beyond, I keep them folks with me. Got it back in blood, y'all just don't know, that's how it's supposed to be. Called him for a feature just to kill him cause we know he's sweet. Later on that same track, he seemingly referred to Lil Pop's death when he said, "You better do what Nardo said, cause people die for pumping gas." A clear sub about how Pop was killed at a gas station. Another verse of note was his contribution to Wonderful Wayne and Jackie Boy with Babyface Ray, a song which prosecutors said featured him recounting how the killing of Lil Pop came about. "Told me they got the Addy, go go. Got the location, go go. Green light, go go go." Durk raps in the song. "Look on the news and see your son. You screaming no, no." But the self-snitching wasn't limited to music either. During an appearance on Academics' Off the Record podcast, recorded after Pop's passing, Durk slyly said that all of the Slide for Vaughn discussion had died down for some weird reason.
You see them comments a lot? They kind of chilled out a little bit. We different in Iraq. I feel like you're speaking of parables. I'm trying to like decode it a little bit, but we got nothing to do with nothing. I'm saying that's like me just claiming something
I want to. Fast forward to now, and a murder for hire plot came together, with Dirk allegedly telling his associates that they shouldn't book no flights under no names involved with me. But when they headed to Cali to carry out the hit, they did so under one of his record label's credit cards. Allegedly, the apparent assailants OTF Didi, Fawny, and 072 Boogie head to California to meet another member by the name of Keon Grant. Intent on catching up to Quando and his crew, they tailed them throughout the day until eventually opening fire. Once they were snatched up by the feds, Dirk allegedly attempted to flee the country, booking flights to Switzerland and Dubai, but was captured before he could successfully escape. Since then, things have been looking grim for Dirkio, with claims that snitching was rampant in the OTF ranks, meaning that he may well be cooked. But it's clear that he's not going down without a fight, and among the main things he's trying to fight against is his music being admissible as evidence. In April of 2025, he released a video statement decrying attempts to use his bars and insisting that they were art. And since then, it has been ruled that prosecutors won't be allowed to do so following the public outcry against it. But not every rapper has a platform like Dirk's to get that word out. And all too often, prosecutors can form an opinion of the accused through their music and lyrics long before it even gets to the trial itself. With that in mind, we need these rappers, both aspiring and established, to be a little wiser about what they share. Because otherwise, they're just going to keep giving the courts absolute home runs when it comes to presenting evidence. It's time for the era of self-snitching to end. Because if it can affect someone as big as Lil Durk, who knows who'll be next to have their lyrics read back to them in a court of law? You probably...
Gang, we got the truth is, every rapper, man, I'm not saying all these rappers done this, but I'm pretty sure down there, a lot of motherfuckers on this motherfucker have.
One thing people have noticed over the years is that hip-hop seems to be getting darker and darker. While back in the day, there might have been a bit of dark, edgy imagery coming from a few hip-hop artists. Over the last few years, it seems that every rapper wants to appear dark, evil, and even satanic. It's like hip-hop became heavy metal in the late 2010s going into the 2020s. It was starting to become clear that the biggest rappers in hip-hop had sold their souls in order to make it to the top. Today, I will be exposing every rapper who sold their soul. It's a lot of them too, with most of them admitting it out of their own mouths. By the end of this video, you will never see hip-hop the same again. Hey guys, I hope all is well. Well, it'll be infinitely long. But if I do end up missing a rapper you think should have been in this video, let me know in the comments. I'll do my best to cover them in another video. In this video, we will be looking at some of the biggest artists in the music industry who have sold their souls. I have determined if they sold their souls through the imagery they use and the lyrics of their songs. By the end of this, you will be surprised at just how many rappers openly confess they sold their souls in their music. Let's start with one of the most successful rappers ever, Eminem. Eminem is one of the highest selling rappers of all time. He is one of the very few rappers that have gone diamond. Eminem dominated in the early 2000s, with very few rappers being able to mimic his success. But one thing that became obvious is that with all that success came the devil, as Eminem has admitted multiple times to selling his soul to the devil to make it big. Whether he meant selling out to the record labels or actually striking a deal with the devil, that's up to you to decide. But Eminem has basically confessed to selling his soul on several of his songs, implying it was a deal with the literal devil. Over the years, Eminem has used occult symbols like the all-seeing eye pose or even the devil horn hand gesture. He has also used occult imagery in his music videos, making it clear that he's deeply involved in the dark side of the music industry.
I hope he put Machine Gun Kelly in this bitch.
He doesn't really seem to hide his deal with the devil, openly confessing it in his songs. You can trace Eminem's connection to the devil to his early days in hip-hop with his Devil Lights album that came out in 2001.
The
in
other
the song
rap
by the
bitch,
same name,
that
Eminem
white
told
bitch.
his fans straight up what his purpose was in the music industry: to create devil-worshipping music. Rapping in the very first verse of the song, I make music to make you sick of fake music, hate music, like devil worship and Satan music. So say your prayers, your Hail Marys and Jesuses, take 2 sticks, tape them together and make a crucifix. Try to stop it, but you can't do it.
Make music to make you sick of fake music, hate music, like devil worship and Satan music. So say your prayers, your Hail Marys and Jesuses, take 2 sticks, tape them together and make a crucifix. Try to stop it, but you can't do it. A whole generation is therapeutic. for whoever's there to use it. It's like Lucifer's here to influence listeners through it. You probably do what it said to do just from listening to it. It's got the power to get you to do it.
Eminem has been telling his fans since the very beginning, letting his fans know that he is being used to influence the youth for the devil himself. He has also confessed in other songs that he made a deal with the devil to achieve all this huge success. In his song Say Goodbye to Hollywood, he raps about selling his soul to the devil. The song Say Goodbye to Hollywood is a track where Eminem rants about wanting to leave Hollywood and the music industry, admitting that he can never get his soul back. The song comes off very remorseful, and Eminem even seems to regret his deal for fame. In the third verse of the song, Eminem raps, "It's like the boy in the bubble who never could adapt. I'm trapped. If I could go back, I never would have rapped. I sold my soul to the devil and I'll never get it back. I just want to leave this game with level head intact."
I'm trapped. If I could go back, I never would have rapped. I sold my soul to the devil, I'll never get it back. I just want to leave this game with level head intact.
In the song, Eminem told his fans the truth about how he became the biggest by selling his soul and allowing himself to be used to mold the youth of the 2000s. This is only one song where Eminem admits to his alliance with Lucifer, as in his last album, The Death of Slim Shady, he not only used satanic imagery in most of his music videos, but he repeatedly compared himself to the literal Antichrist, admitting that the devil is inside of him. In the song Antichrist, he raps, "That's sinfully getting to spit in this, devil in me and I do his bidding. His name is Marshall, he's the Antichrist."
What Dre sent me to do, I simply get to spitting the shit devil in me, and I do spitting his name is Marshall. He's the Antichrist. You wanna dance with the devil? Dance with the devil. Dance with the devil. I was down bad, broke, and almost abandoned hope. Now my followers are like a satanic cult. Yeah, they listen to me like when Manson spoke.
Now I don't understand how fans listen to this and find no issues with it. They find his rap about Satan cool
That's wild shit,
when
bro.
he is
We ain't
straight
fuck
up
with
telling
that
you
shit.
he sold his soul.
You keep
Eminem's
Yahweh
most
first.
eye-opening song has to be My Darling. In that song, Eminem has a full-on conversation with the devil. He credits Satan with being responsible for his Slim Shady alter ego. In the song, he's heard fighting the devil in himself, trying to keep him from taking over. But he eventually fails, and the devil does in fact take control.
He must have deleted the music out of his shit. That's what I'm saying. A lot of music that he got left in this bitch, I might delete it, cause you know what I'm saying, copyright issues. But hey, you don't have to be no rocket scientist. A lot of this stuff in the rap game, man, just smoke and mirrors these days, man. Some shit really do be happening though. You know what I'm saying? Niggas do be dying. Fuck shit do be happening. Hoes be getting hit. Drugs be getting slung. But you gotta stay protected out here. You did. You know what I'm saying?
While fans love to deny that Eminem sold his soul because they idolize him, he admits himself he sold out to make it big. He wanted to be the biggest rapper in the industry, and in order to do that, he had to allow himself to be used by Lucifer. This is not something I'm saying, this is something he is saying himself, repeatedly. Now, for those who want a deeper breakdown on Eminem, I linked one of my other YouTube videos on Eminem that I did, and also a Patreon version in which I expose him even deeper. You can find both of those links in the description. The next rapper we're going to be talking about is another top-selling rapper in hip-hop, Drake. Drake has become one of the highest-selling rappers of all time, just like Eminem. And just like Eminem, Drake has sold his soul to make it to that very spot. Drake, like in Them Young, isn't the only evil thing this guy's up to, as Drake is deeply involved in the occult. Just like many of the rappers we're going to be talking about today, Drake openly shows he's sold out by using occult hand gestures and branding himself with occult symbols. In this photo, early on, Drake could be seen doing the one-eye symbolism. As you can see in the photo, he's placing the OK hand gesture over one of his eyes. This is a reference to the Eye of Horus, a prominent symbol adopted by many occult organizations like the Freemasons, OTO, and Thelema. Drake, just like Eminem, placed hints that he sold his soul all throughout his music. In Drake's song Sneaking, Drake himself admits that he's satanic, rapping in the first verse, "This is all God's doing, man, you can't plan it. But if the devil's in the details, then I'm satanic."
This is all God's doing, man, you can't plan it. But if the devil's in the details, then I'm satanic.
Drake has hidden his occult ties in his literal branding. This is where things get deep. See, there's way more to Drake's label being called OVO and his use of the owl logo. This is the real reason he calls himself the Sixth God. This owl symbol is a prominent occult symbol. It represents the pagan deity named Moloch, an ancient evil fallen god that demanded child sacrifices. This owl is called the Owl of Manivra, and it's a representation of Moloch. The same owl Drake uses for the mascot of his OVO record label, which also just so happens to be at the center of the Bohemian Grove ritual. Everyone sub to this channel should know by now what the Bohemian Grove is. For those who don't know, it's a private camp retreat for the elite. The elite of the world meet up at this camp yearly to decide who will be the next president. They also came up with the atomic bomb at the Bohemian Grove. You can look that up. On top of planning what's going to happen next at the Bohemian Grove, the elite all participate in a mock sacrifice ritual in front of a massive owl statue that represents Moloch, the same exact owl Drake used for his logo. On top of this, the real reason Drake uses the letter OVO for his record label, it is because it's a play on the name of a secret society that's called OTO, Order Templi Orientis, which also used the Owl of Manivra as an occult symbol of enlightenment. Drake doesn't call himself the Sixth God because of Toronto. He calls himself that because he's deep into the occult, and they believe 666 is the number of man becoming God. Just like Eminem incorporated his satanic ties heavily within his brand, Drake did the same. That's how they both became the biggest rappers in hip-hop. They both called themselves gods. Drake called himself the Sixth God, and Eminem the Rap God. They do this because this is what the occult teaches them. They believe that man is God, and through rituals, they could unlock godlike enlightenment. Again, I will link a full breakdown on Drake in the description if any of you are interested. The next rapper we're going to be talking about is another great legend, Mr. Carter himself, Jay-Z. Jay-Z needs no introduction. Just like the other two, Jay-Z is one of the legends who helped build hip-hop to what it is today. He helped commercialize hip-hop and also made the occult popular in hip-hop as well. See, Jay-Z, like Drake, has incorporated occult symbols into his music branding. Jay-Z is one of the OGs of using occult hand gestures, as he's known to make a pyramid symbol with his hands. This symbol has become associated with the Illuminati symbol, but in reality, this ties back to the all-seeing eye that's linked to many secret societies. Jay-Z is a Freemason. He's even featured on the song by Rick Ross that's literally named Freemason. Jay-Z, like Drake and Eminem, compares himself to a god as well, calling himself Hov or Hova, which is an obvious play on Jehovah. This is again because occultists believe they're gods, which is further amplified when they have millions of fans worshipping them. Jay-Z also admits his connections to the occult and not having any regrets about doing it, all the way back in 1996 in his song Devils, where he is heard rapping about accepting the evil and not wanting God's forgiveness. For the hook of the song, Jay-Z sampled two songs, a Snoop Dogg song and a song by Prodigy, with the hook going like this: Dear God, I wonder can you save me? Illuminati wants my mind, soul, and my body. Dear God, I wonder can you save me? Secret societies trying to keep their eye on me.
Yeah, God, I wonder can you save me? Illuminati want my mind, soul, and my body. God, I wonder can you save me? Secret society trying to keep their eye on me.
Already with just the hook of this song alone, we know what Jay-Z is referring to, his Masonic alliance. Jay-Z then goes on to rap on a verse. 9 to 5 is how to survive. I ain't trying to survive. I'm trying to live to the limit and love it a lot. Life ills poison my body. I used to say forget mic skills. I never pray to God. I pray to Gotti. That's right, it's wicked. That's life, I live it. Ain't asking for forgiveness for my sins ends.
Well, granted, 9 to 5 is how you survive. I ain't trying to survive, I'm trying to live it to the limit and love it alive. Life ills, poison my body, and used to say skills. I never prayed to God, I prayed to God. That's right, it's wicked. That's life, I live it, ain't asking for forgiveness for my sins. Ends.
It's clear Jay-Z sold his soul. It's how he became the billionaire rapper he is today. Just like the other two rappers, I will leave a deep dive video linked in the description. The next rapper we're going to be talking about is Lil Wayne. Lil Wayne, just like the others, has used occult symbols and satanic references in his music videos and songs. Just like the others, Wayne can be seen doing the one-eye symbolism. He can also be seen doing the all-seeing eye hand gesture in this photo. Lil Wayne, just like the others as well, has confessed to his alliance with the devil in his music, calling himself Satan's son repeatedly in his song named Bastard, aka Satan's son. In the song he raps, I'm Satan's kid, repeatedly in the hook.
I'm Satan's kid, I'm Satan's kid, I'm Satan's kid, I'm Satan's kid.
Lil Wayne also has a song with XXX Tentacion called Get Out of My Head. In the opening lines of that song, X raps about the start of the coming New World Order, opening the song by rapping, the brains will start to abandon their religions and believe in themselves, and the New World Order will start. Brains will start to abandon their religions and believe in themselves, and the New World Order will start.
brains will start to abandon their religions and believe in themselves. And the New World Order will start.
This brings us to the next rapper we're going to be talking about, XXXTentacion. XXXTentacion is just like Eminem. He's extremely open about selling his soul. Like all the other rappers we have spoken about today, X uses the same occult hand gestures and symbols, doing the one-eye symbolism, and also having music videos full of open demonic imagery, showing his soul being collected by the devil. With X, it's truly too deep of a story to cover in just a small bit. So if you haven't seen my full in-depth breakdown on X, I will leave it linked in the description. But X's alliance with the devil traces back to the start of his career, specifically with a friendship he developed with an adult film star named Bruno Dickens when he was still a teenager. Bruno introduced X to an occult religion started by the infamous occultist Aleister Crowley called Thelema. X was groomed by Bruno, and this is when he got consumed by the occult. Around this time, X made a song called I Spoke to the Devil in Miami. In this song, X talks about meeting a Baphomet. This is Baphomet, and is often mistaken for the devil or a demon. But in reality, the Baphomet represents man becoming God through the rituals of alchemy. It's an alchemic symbol of the Great Work. The Great Work represents when man becomes God through these occult rituals. When a person is in perfect unity with their feminine side and their masculine side, their animalistic side and their human side. The Baphomet is a mixture of all these elements. It is also a representation of Lucifer in a way, because he was the one who introduced this to man. The idea of man being God. In XXXTentacion's song, I Spoke to the Devil in Miami, he rapped about selling his soul and having to make a sacrifice.
Took a bite of your apple, give me all you can offer. Now I'm trapped in a changing maze, setting my soul ablaze. Couldn't control the pace, words is going hey. Heartless is reckless, this is word of a pacifist, word of a masochist. I'm all for the man, my lord. I spoke to a Baphomet, he said he would save me if I gave him one thing he needed. What is this thing I pleaded? Boy, it's the kid to even.
Not long after X made this song, he ended up getting arrested. While in prison, X actually performed an occult ritual dedicated to the goddess Hecate, a pagan deity associated with magic in the underworld. During his time in jail, X was called on a jail phone call speaking to a friend who provided him with the instructions for the ritual. During this phone call, which I will play now, X could be heard asking for the step-by-step instructions for the ritual, which included instructions to commit a sacrifice.
I can hear you say it. Summoning Hecate, goddess of crossroads, darkness, witchcraft, wisdom, and the moon. Please come to me, please. Tell me how to spell the name. Summoning? The H word. Huh? H-E-C-A-T-E is the H word that I'm saying. Wait, H-E? H-E-C-A-T-E. H-E-C-A.
I think I'm gonna skip through this because it's like niggas ain't, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I skipped through all that shit. Y'all can go check it out on his channel. I ain't got time for all that goofy shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I listened to it before. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, nah, bro, this is on some goofy shit. Y'all go check it out. It's on his channel. Truth is, you know what I'm saying?
Like I said with X, it goes really deep, so if you haven't seen my full breakdown on
That
him,
shit crazy.
go check it out after this video. The link would be in the description. The next rapper we're going to be talking about is Kanye West. Kanye might have many of his fans fooled, thinking he's some sort of Christian man. But just like X, Kanye has used the Baphomet imagery to imply he was God himself. He is also known for using the pyramid hand gesture that refers to the all-seeing eye. Kanye has admitted out of his own mouth that he sold his soul to the devil.
I sold my soul to the devil. I know it's a crack deal. This came with a few toys like a Happy Meal.
With Kanye, just like X, he is dabbling in the teachings of Aleister Crowley. See, Aleister Crowley taught his followers that an Egyptian god named Horus was going to rule an age called the Age of Horus, which is basically the age that we're in. The Age of Horus is the New World Order, where religion is destroyed and replaced with the worship of oneself. In Kanye's Power video, he was seen channeling Horus wearing a massive Horus chain, with plenty of other Egyptian occult imagery. By now, you should have noticed a pattern. Another rapper open with their connection to the occult is Young Thug. Now, I won't say too much in this video about Young Thug, because I just made a video about him. But Young Thug has also used a lot of occult imagery throughout his career. He's actually come out and admitted he's a Freemason and has even shot videos full of this occult imagery. Again, if you want to see a full breakdown on Young Thug, head over to the description and you'll find the link to that video. The next rapper we're going to be talking about is the legendary Snoop Dogg. Snoop Dogg is one of the most memorable rappers of the 90s. While he existed with many other legends like Tupac and Biggie, Snoop has managed to become one of the faces of hip-hop culture. Now, obviously, to make it to the level he's made it to, you have to do what all the others on this list have done. Strike a deal with the devil. This is exactly what Snoop displayed in his music video for Murder Was the Case, as the video shows a scenario of Snoop being shot and put in a coma before the devil shows up and offers him a deal. The video shows the devil flying in through a window as a crow and then morphing into a man. The devil then shows Snoop all he has to offer for his soul, showing him the mansion, the hit records, and the life he's always dreamed of. This is why Snoop Dogg uses the same occult imagery as all the other rappers we have spoken about today. He was even caught wearing a Baphomet chain to the Olympics, which again is him referring to himself as a god like the rest of these sellouts.
I don't know what y'all thought this was, but this is the GOAT. I had this made because somebody told me I was the GOAT, so I wanted to make me a GOAT chain. All that other y'all talking about, I don't know what y'all talking about, but this is the GOAT. Greatest of all time. With a blue diamond on his head. GOAT. GOAT. Like that shit y'all talking about, miss me with that shit. Dog is the GOAT. Representing peace and love around the whole globe. So now y'all know the truth. It's a GOAT. I don't know what kind of misprint y'all on. Media love starts. I'm over here having fun, it cares. Yeah, Glow.
While there are so many more rappers that I couldn't get to in this video, I think I've made my point. These rappers all sold their soul and are being used to push dangerous spiritual propaganda. These artists at some point or another were the voices of the youth. They molded generations of kids, teaching them to abandon God and to embrace the ways of the devil. This is why we have so many lost souls running around today. I myself was one of those souls when I was younger, idolizing these rappers and trying to be just like them. Now, if you're asking yourself, why has our world become so cold? And why are the people becoming more and more soulless? This is the reason. Satan has hijacked the airways, using it as a perfect grooming tool, teaching these kids that they are their own gods and should only care about themselves. If you listen to these artists, you need to understand what they're influencing you with. The puppet masters know you won't listen to them, but you will listen to a puppet dripped out in diamonds and dressed in designer clothes. As long as they're waving around money, driving expensive cars, and showing off their weapon. The devil knows how to corrupt man, and these artists are the perfect example of that. He uses these artists like a fishing net, casting it and scooping up countless souls. Don't be one of the souls that end up in that net. Remember that every day we wake up, our souls are at stake. Let me know what rapper you think should have been in this video. And if you want to see a part 2 to this video where I go over the rest of the rappers I missed, comment part 2 below. I want to thank you all for...
Alright, we back. So, like I said, bruh, some of the rappers, man, they crashed out. Like the older rappers, them niggas crashed out a long time ago. You know what I'm saying? You know, we got TK. She didn't have a TK. Eminem, Goofy, yeah, we been know he was still out. But like I said, man, life can hit you hard. You know what I'm saying? And what you gonna do? You get what I'm saying? Hey, keep it real. Stay prayed up. Have faith. Never and don't fall. Don't fall for these foolery. These fool goals out here on these street. Stay smart. Hooding outside. Big crip in the game. That's that shit.
Hey, Dad, you know, dog, when we link up, dog, this shit be legendary. You know this instrumental, you the engineer on it, so Kodak everywhere.